Let's welcome my new colonoscopy pal, Marcy Warren. And let's give her a round of applause because to do this on camera, when you said it was fabulous, I thought that was the propofol talking, but it wasn't so bad, was it?
It wasn't bad at all. Absolutely not. And I think, you know, it's unfortunate that it gets a bad rap. I think people talk about the procedure and the prepping and this. I loved our prep.
Well, let's talk about what you found, Felice. You found a polyp.
Yes, we did.
And you actually sent the polyp to be biopsied.
That's correct. It was a tubular adenoma, which is the type of polyp that we do colonoscopy screening for. It's the type of polyp which could become cancer. It doesn't always become cancer, but now that we've taken that out, we have basically taken away her risk of getting colon cancer from that polyp. So it's fantastic that she had us done.
Marcy, hearing that and hearing that you had a polyp that did have the potential to become a cancerous growth, you must be extremely glad you had this done.
I'm extremely glad, and I think it's just going to reiterate what I said before, is the prep is not that bad. I thought it was an invasive procedure. I thought it was going to be humiliating. It was none of the above.
When will Marcy need to be screened again?
So because she had one polyp, we would repeat her colonoscopy in 5 years.
And so for all the people watching, and I know you're out there, if they're afraid to get screened or they're putting it off or they just don't like the notion or they think it's uncomfortable,
right,
what would you say to those people?
I would say to them, this is one day out of your life. And we've discussed this. If someone were to tell you you could take one day of your life to prep for a colonoscopy, or you could die of colon cancer, what would you choose? I think you choose doing a screening examination.
Absolutely. And before we go, I know that the goal of the Monahan Center, and Felice has done such a terrific job there, is to really treat the whole patient, not just the disease, the whole patient and his or her family, because let's face it, cancer is a family affair.
That's true.
And to that end, you have an interesting pilot program you're trying that was inspired by one of your patients.
So there's a pilot project that we have started called Michael's Mission, and we've recognized that patients who've developed colorectal cancer have emotional needs that sometimes are unmet. And this project is trying to offer services, therapeutic services, to patients while they're getting infusional chemotherapy.
Really counseling, because they're there, they're scared, they're depressed, they're often alone, and there's so many psychological aspects of being diagnosed with cancer or being a family member. I think it's a fantastic idea. I can't believe it hasn't been done yet. And good luck, and let us know how it's going. Thank you so much, Felice, for coming in and really giving us this important information. Marcy, thank you so much for being our guinea pig. And we're so glad that you got screened, because you never know what might have happened. And if you'd like to hear the emotional story of Michael Sousa, the young man who inspired this new program we just talked about, you can head to katiecouric.com. Up next, actress Maura Tierney's personal battle with cancer and the warning signs you should not ignore. Thank you to Emma Roberts for that. You know, a lot of us have heard of HPV, the human papillomavirus, which is the leading cause of cervical cancer. One of the most exciting breakthroughs in cancer research has been the HPV vaccine, which prevents cervical cancer. But did you know that a strain of that same virus is also the cause of an increasing number of oral cancers? Blythe Danner's husband, Bruce Paltrow, died of oral cancer in 2002. Blythe is here along with Dr. Marshall Posner, who is head and neck oncologist from Mount Sinai here in New York. Thank you both so much for being here. Thank you. Appreciate it. So Blythe, I know that your husband, Bruce Paltrow, was diagnosed with oral cancer, but it took a while for you all to get that diagnosis.
Yeah, you know, it's odd because it is the fastest growing cancer today. Then it was not as much was known about it. Today, 115 people are diagnosed a day, which is extraordinary. And one person dies every hour of every day, 365 days a year. So people are really becoming aware of it.
And concerned about it. I know in Bruce's case, he was hoarse, but he sort of had a sort of a hoarse voice. That was kind of his natural speaking voice.
He had this New York kind of, you know, talk down
kind of
here
raspy,
anyway.
right?
I say, honey, it's getting raspier. I think you should go to the doctor. No, you know, a lot of men are just so dismissive of that. And he didn't go. And then one day he came home and he said, I don't know, I got a lump here. It's either, I either pulled something at the gym or I got cancer, ha, ha, ha. And sadly, you know, because he was a big joker, and it was a cancer.
Dr. Posner, how do people get oral cancer?
Well, there are two major causes. One is environmental, which is mainly tobacco and alcohol. And then the second major cause is this virus, human papillomavirus, that has now exceeded in terms of oral cancer the number of cases, for example, of cervical cancer in the United States.
And, you know, this is not, you know, necessarily daytime television fare, but it's being spread through oral sex.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason we encourage prepubescent boys as well as girls to get the Gardasil inoculation is because a lot of young people are thinking, oh, it's not really sex, you know, we have oral sex, but it clearly is the reason it has just grown.
And this is a particular strain of HPV. It's HPV 16, right, Dr. Posner?
That's correct. Cervical cancer is caused by HPV 16 and 18 primarily. There are other strains of HPV that will cause both oral cancer and cervical cancer, but HPV 16 causes over 90% of it.
So I understand that only 30% of girls and 2% of boys have gotten the HPV vaccine. Why is that so low?
Well, I think there's a number of people who feel this vaccine has moral implications, and I think that's unfortunate because it's really here to prevent a disease that is not necessarily something that travels with morality.
It's a series of 3 shots, and you have to get it by the time you're how old?
Well, they like you to start when you're about 12, and the peak age is about 24 when you would stop doing the vaccination.
A lot of parents are very wary of it. You know, you look back to the polio vaccine, so many people were afraid of that because there were some reactions, some negative reactions, but, you know, proportionately it was so much more important to prevent polio, and we've eradicated it.
This is one of the safest vaccines. When you compare it to people who weren't vaccinated, the side effects are very, very minimal. It's very much like the hepatitis B vaccine.
And so also we want to make everybody aware that April is Oral Cancer Prevention Awareness Month, and there are 2,600 locations, there were last year, where people can go for free screenings, and your hygienists and ENT people, there you can go on oralcancer-screening.org to find the sites where you can get these free screenings.
Blythe, I know you missed your husband every single day, but I actually read the quote that he often said to you by Robert Frost, which was, quote, "I can sum up in 3 words what I've learned about life. It goes on."
Yeah. He always, he wouldn't want any of us to. We miss him so much. He was the heart of our family, but he would want us to carry on and, you know, do the work for the Oral Cancer Foundation and oral cancer in general. He would be on the phone all the time. He'd be on encouraging patients because a lot of people tend to be suicidal with this. They can't eat, they can't drink properly. It's very painful after you've gone through the chemotherapy and the radiation and the operation. So he'd constantly be on the phone. They asked him all the time to talk to these people.
So really, in some ways, you're fulfilling his legacy.
He'd be real happy to have us active. And my daughter Gwyneth has raised a lot of money, and we're so proud of her for that.
We so appreciate you being here. Blythe and Dr. Posner, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And up next, we're going to tell you about some exciting new developments that could change the face of cancer.